Yeah, I think one thing makes a difference. I think we're only species that actually we have to make things better all the time, right? We don't see like a honeybees making a better honey hive, right?
Well,
Like what if we're making better phones, better things? Everything has to be improved every year, right?
what that's so interesting because I remember I recently, I think it was in the last year or so, somebody had said something that really stuck with me about how despite us having that capacity for like continuous improvement and like participating and pushing our own evolution and how we operate and live in the world, there's this other part of humans is that we're the only species where we can choose not to grow or evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Like trees, like as long as trees are getting what they need to, and even if they've been in a fire, their root system's still there,
Yeah.
and they just keep growing,
Mm-hmm.
and they grow and they grow and they reproduce and they grow and they grow. But us, like we can choose whether or not.
Maybe that's another difference with us.
Yeah, like you could just not. Like you could say like I'm going to act the same way I did when I was 16, and like but trees, like not trees like you can say like, oh well, that's because physically they have tree rings for their age, but it's like now there's research about their mycelium networks and how
Yeah.
they have layers of intelligence the
Yeah.
older that they
I
are.
know. Yeah, I've heard that too. All the roots talking to each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. So do you think other animals are intelligent, like ants, bees, dolphins? Do you think have challenges too, or just humans?
I think that we're still trying to understand the advanced, what I would call, maybe what we've misunderstood when we say intelligence is what I kind of refer to as advanced instincts,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, for example, birds. Nobody, like you look at like the structure of a bird brain and
Mm-hmm.
you look at it, you can analyze its activity and like its calls, and they look at like a murder of crows and they like they're petty, like
Yeah,
they
crows are
remember
very
people. Yeah,
crows are very petty. Yeah,
yeah,
there's so many stories.
they're so yeah, and they study like they have like working kind of memory to even
Yeah.
enact pettiness and recognize people and other crows and other animals. So there's like that kind of analysis, but then there's another kind of analysis that says how come birds can sense like danger in a forest, whether it be a fire, whether it be like a storm coming. Birds can sense that, but humans can't. Like they can biologically
Yeah.
sense it. So that's what I'm saying. Like they have this advanced instincts.
Maybe we had it way millions of years ago, and this evolutionary just went away with us.
Yeah, like, I was even reading something about how like humans can kind of tap into a form of like echolocation to orient themselves, like and that kind of thing. And I'm just like, wow, that's so interesting. But yeah, that's what I mean by like advanced instincts. Like there are some animals that have these instincts that like aren't even that compelling for humans, and we're not sure if we lost them or
So,
what.
would you say this is intelligence or hyper? What's the word you used?
Like advanced instincts.
Advanced instinct. So they found this ant colony somewhere, right? It was like million, like miles and miles of ant colonies, right? They placed where they were storing food. It's like a real community, right? And a lot of scientists are like this is intelligence, it's like instincts, right? So would you say this is like intelligence? They built this big miles long ant colony with plans and food storage, or just instincts?
I think, well, that's the thing. I think that there's an interplay between instincts and intelligence because, for example, humans have instincts, but what we act upon
Yeah, it's a whole different story.
is a different story. So I think that's the thing is like they have these advanced instincts, but they collaborated in a way that like shows like a level of like, I think that's the other thing too is that they're still kind of like, this gets into all kinds of metacognition and semantics, but this idea of like what is intelligence and then what is skill,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the thing, bees are skilled builders, like
Yeah.
those ants are skilled builders, and you do have to admit there's a degree of intelligence required to have a skill set, but once you kind of leave the purview of that skill set type or that intelligence type, like they're right back to being ants.
Yeah. So what's your prediction for like the future tech that something you think's gonna happen? And I'll tell you mine first, right? This is my prediction. So you know how way back in the day it would take like 6 months to go from like London, England to New York City on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Now it takes 6 hours, and now it takes like I'm making this up like 6 months to go from here like to like Mars. I think we're gonna figure out some kind of new physics, engineering, some kind of new tech's gonna happen. It's gonna take from 6 months like 6 days.
Oh yeah, I think that's definitely on the table. I'm gonna throw out some things that are like, because people kind of ask me about like my specific sort of dreams or breakthroughs that I would like to see in my lifetime. I would love to see us be able to like decode like some of like the brainwaves and activity to like know where people are when they're in a coma or vegetative state.
Oh shit, that'd be a good one.
Like and be able to decipher, because that can kind of be considered a form of dark data. Like we see like this brain activity and we see like that's a bit of a mystery to us. Um, bears. The only reason I bring up the bears is because it's like people for a long time have been studying like how do bears hibernate?
Mm-hmm.
Can we do that? They're a mammal. We're a mammal. Like how can we do that? Metabolically.
Are they like
all
actually
that.
sleep all the time? Are they dreaming or?
Like that's another one I would love to see like solved, right?
Has anyone actually like put a camera in like a bear cave and recorded the whole hibernation?
Yeah,
Okay,
they tag them and all of
Okay.
that stuff. It really gets into and I'm not sure like how far, but like we're really like really trying to understand like from that metabolic perspective, and even from like an aging air quotes perspective, is that the same as people being in a vegetative state or coma? Is that the closest thing we have to hibernation? Can we induce that like on purpose and like not damage people's like brain and aging capacity the way that bears naturally by instinct have this cycle? Like that's one. I know the whole thing like from Up with the dog collars to be able to decipher what dogs say, that kind of thing. I know people are really into that. I also, we've explored and mapped more space than we have the oceans.
Yeah.
So
ain't no telling what's down there.
Yeah, so that's another thing. It's like I'm wondering, because obviously there's pressure, temperature, all those other considerations.
You always see this new fish animal, like what the hell is that?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very curious. The Little Mermaid was my favorite Disney movie growing up. My two favorites were like The Little Mermaid and Sailor Moon. So I'm into like the space thing, but I'm also into the oceans thing.
So what about this? You know how you dream all the time?
Mm-hmm.
What if when you're dreaming, you're in another multiverse trying to communicate with you through that dream?
That's another thing too around lucid dreaming. Mm-hmm. Like that's another one people are looking to be able to decipher in sleep studies and all that. Like, because to me it's like there is an argument to be said that like everything we just talked about, from vegetative states to people who are nonverbal to hibernation to lucid dreaming, they all are like brain signals and activity are speaking a language to the body and the nervous system.
Like when your brain's having these thoughts, is that really you? Is that something else? Is it consciousness? Is it like all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, and we don't really know how to decipher. I mean, that's a great example of a data type that we don't know how to decipher. We even compare ourselves like we're like computers, and it's like we like know our hardware. They call us wetware, right?
Yeah.
But like the kind of like the signal patterns and where it goes wrong and like all that. That's the other reason I think like some of this protein engineering stuff is so interesting. Because that gets into like the more fundamental building blocks of like your neurons and like your brain waves and like what's turning things on and off and your epigenetics and enzymes. It gets into like all kinds of stuff. It's really interesting.
What's your take on like all this like Neuralink stuff, putting like a neural readjusting your neurons in your brains and stuff like that?
It's one of those things where let's see how humanity does with this new toy. That's what I'll say to it, because like there's very much like a scenario where you're like, wow, like there's somebody with dementia and Alzheimer's who before didn't have access to this part of working memory in their brain, and now they do. I would never say like that we should like not provide that for people if that's an option for them. Like I'm not sure if you've ever had a family member or been interacted with somebody who has that and they like forgot you or something. Like that's heartbreaking, and that's like it is scary for the other person because they'll have holes in their memory and they won't remember they interacted with you that way. It's really something.
And what about the company that brought back the dire wolves recently? You heard about that?
Oh yeah, now my son.
Yeah.
My middle son in particular, he's very excited about this idea that like if we have like kind of these descendants from things like the wolves or like elephants and the woolly mammoth, he's really excited about that. For me, I'm kind of like, don't we already have habitat imbalances? Like if our like coyote population or our like isn't there like a feral hog situation in Texas right now? And it's like we can't even manage like habitat balance for like the animals we have here. So I do wonder about that sometimes. And I'm just like, well, why are we trying to like bring back species like woolly mammoth? Like what habitat do we have for a woolly mammoth?
Yeah,
like,
what's the
right now? Like,
and of course you know your mind goes worst case scenario. Okay, you brought back the dire wolf, and then you put neural links in their brains to make it smart, and give them AI robot enabled drone laser fighter things. I
didn't even think of that. I'm trying to. I think that's my thing is I'm always trying to understand like purpose.
Mm-hmm. And what is the purpose of that, bringing the dire wolf back? I don't know. Because you can do it?
What's that saying? Just because American doesn't mean American. Like, we ever listen?
No, we don't. What you got? Any speaking gigs coming up?
So apart from Seattle's Got Tech with you, I'm going to be at the Columbia Tower Club on Tuesday for Tech Week.
Mm-hmm.
An event called VC Insights for Founders.
Okay.
So I'll be like on panel and sharing the stage with folks from Plug and Play and Flying Fish and like a whole bunch of other folks.